So hi everyone. This is the unofficial first part of Cooking with Guy. It's technically a bonus one because I was gonna start it tomorrow, but unfortunately I got busy tomorrow. Plans came up, and so I decided I might as well do something today. My mom sent me a picture of a delicious pot roast that she made while she's in Illinois taking care of my grandma. And since it's Father's Day, and my dad does like pot roast and meat in general, I figured I'd make this in honor of him. He's never gonna get to eat it, unfortunately, but that's okay. Maybe later, honestly. He's not gonna get to eat this one, but I will make it for him in the future. How about that? But obviously, we're gonna start with the first section of that, which is getting higher than I already am. Which, to be fair, I did the 1738 challenge too, so I am. How do you say? Multiple forms of fucked up. um. So, yeah. I've got all my ingredients prepped, so I don't have to worry about that. In other segments, when I get kind of lighting and actual flow of the videos and make them actually good, because I'm aware this isn't going to be very good. Once I get the flow, I'll probably like show you guys me prepping and setting up and all that. But for now, we're not gonna do that. For now, we have ingredients. We've got onions and rosemary, potatoes, carrots, things like that. All the standard things to make pot roast / stew. So I'm gonna get started on that, and you guys can kind of just chill for a sec. In the comments below this video, please let me know what you guys would be interested in seeing me cook / bake. I've got a couple ideas. I've got a long Pinterest board and all that, but never have too many ideas. I'm not promising I'm gonna get to every single one, and who knows when I'll be able to get to every single one. But yeah, so let me know down below what you guys have a fancy for. A couple desserts coming up this next week, mostly desserts. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've got some lemon bars. I think I've got some lemon blueberry cookie. We just had a huge lemon tree in the neighborhood that hangs over, so I go and pick a couple lemons. So we've got a bunch of lemons that I'm trying to get rid of. So yeah, you're gonna preheat your oil in the pot. This is not a how-to, by the way. If you want to try to follow this, you can, but it's not made to be followable necessarily. Again, this is definitely like the foundation video to get all the kinks out, or at least see where I need to get kinks out. I'm not very good at talking to people, even myself, so we'll see. I will try to get better at dialogue as and if this goes on. And if you guys really hate this, please let me know. I don't want to keep making videos that people hate and don't like, Nobody likes that. Anyway, so I've got oil heating in a pot right now. I'm gonna chuck in the beef with some seasonings. I do white pepper, salt, and black pepper. Not too many seasonings, honestly. The actual seasonings will come through our aromatics, which is like garlic and onion and rosemary. Make sure it's hot enough before you put your meat in. I know a lot of people get scared at oil popping or sizzling, but that's how you know it's ready. So make sure you have clean hands. I wash my hands before this. You can pick up a tiny chunk of meat. And if you hear that, that's perfect. So just chuck your meat in, and we're gonna brown that. Brown that for about probably 2 to 3 minutes in total. You don't need to cook it all the way through. In fact, don't, because it will be sitting for a bit and they don't want it to get tough or anything. The nice thing about stews and pot roasts is the longer you leave them, the softer they get. So we're going to season that. You can season that however you like. If you want to add more or less, by all means. I'm not cooking this for you, so it doesn't matter how it tastes to me. So stir this around, burn your seasonings, and this is something I have a problem with too, which is why I'm emphasizing it. Leave it the fuck alone. Let it brown, let it braise. Just make sure it doesn't burn. That is basically it. That is it. You can turn up your heat if you feel you need to. Can put away different seasonings if you think you're not going to need them anymore. I'm still going to need this, but I'm not going to need my white pepper, so I'm going to put it away. If you find benefit in keeping a clean workstation, then do that. If you don't, then who gives a fuck? It's based on you and how you feel comfortable doing so. So, never going to preach anything other than that. You can, so I know I just said leave it the fuck alone. But if you see that one side is getting brown and the other sides are red, you can go ahead and flip that over. And so in preparation, I'm going to go grab a plate real quick because we're going to transfer our meat to that to let it rest a little bit, and then we're going to do the aromatics. Alright, got my plate. I'm going to touch this again because the other sides are browns. And you can definitely, a lot of times I'll manually flip stuff, so like I'll see certain chunks and I'll flip them with my tongue. Stirring is definitely effective for the like first time you chuck all the meat in, but you definitely will have to do some selective flipping at some point. Also a tip, make sure that your pot is centered on the stove. I don't know why, but I always do this. I'll like put it too far to the right or too far to the back or too far to the left, and then I'll wonder why it's not heating evenly. I was like, maybe because it's not even on the burner. The heat source, crazy. But okay, so I'm gonna show you what this looks like in a sec. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil in actually. And I just use, so this is an olive oil bottle, but it's actually canola oil. I basically use canola oil for everything. Besides your like extremely flavorful oils like sesame oil and things like that, a lot of seed oils, I suppose. I don't find that any oil has a particular flavor or benefit or negative effect. So I don't use any other oil besides canola oil. I just don't. I don't really care, but I'm also not a person who has to be on a strict diet for that sort of stuff. The only thing I really have to look out for is extreme lactose intolerance. So whatever works with you and your diet and your lifestyle, that is what you use. I use canola oil. So this is browned, as you can see, pretty brown. There's still a couple pink centers. I don't mind that. I like it to be a little bit undercooked because again, it's going to be sitting for like 2 hours on the stove cooking. So you're going to transfer that to your plate. Keep the juice. Meat juice is flavored. Seriously, do not just strain that out. I don't care what the recipe is. Even if it tells you to strain it out. Strain it into a separate container and add it in a gravy or whatever. Doesn't matter. Alright, so we're going to turn our burner back on. We're going to re-oil our pan. We're going to let that, you can actually already hear it because it was preheated. And then we're going to take, again, our aromatics, so our onion, our rosemary, and our garlic, and we're going to dump that in. And again, you want it to sizzle. Sizzle is not a bad thing. Sizzle is flavor and color. Which, if that's a bad thing to you, then I just won't eat at your house. That's okay. So this one you are going to keep a little bit more of a vigilant, watchful eye on, because this stuff does have a tendency to burn. And you're going to let that sit until the onions no longer burn your eyes. Oh, that smells so good. Does anyone else... So, I love the smell of thyme. I hate just straight thyme, though. I love the smell of thyme cooking. Anybody else have that, or is that just me? And is it for just thyme? Is it for other ingredients? Let me know. Anyway, yeah, you hear that sizzling, obviously. You're gonna let that brown, let the onions get translucent. Make sure you don't burn the garlic. If you're to a point where you're like, if I keep going, the garlic's gonna burn, then just continue. The onions don't need to be translucent. Again, it's gonna sit on the stove for like 2 hours. So anything in there is gonna get soft. It's okay. Don't stress about it. Don't get too much anxiety if your onions are not completely translucent. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you're gonna let this sit. Let's see. Next steps. Good question. Wine, broth, seasonings, potatoes, meat back in, sit, and a little bit of flour. That's about it. Let me grab my red wine. Alright. So you got red wine, it's a Pinot Noir that I use for cooking a lot. If you have a dog or anything, also make sure you clean stuff that they can't eat off the floor. I just spilled a little bit of wine, so I just went with a wet paper towel. Okay, so these got like a minute left on them. I'm gonna, while those are continuing to cook, I'm gonna wash this real quick. So give me 1 second. Wash/rinse. So I just rinsed that. Again, your cleanliness of your own station is up to you. However you are able to operate in that's your desire. I have a couple things, but I get super tired after I cook. It's a lot of energy, mental, physical, etc. And so I'll pre-rinse myself, and then I'll usually wash it the next day or the day after that even. No shame in that. Whatever you have, may it be pots, even mental stuff like BPD, things like that, it doesn't matter. The thing that you did is pretty awesome, no matter what it is. Even if you couldn't clean up right after, like, whatever you did, good. I'm proud of you. Like, seriously. I know that means nothing coming from me, but still. There is someone, and lots of someones, who are very proud of you for just taking a second and putting in effort that you didn't have to. There's definitely something to be said about that. Okay, so what I just did was I added the red wine in. Letting that deglaze the pot. Jesus. Letting that deglaze the pot. Do that until you don't smell red wine anymore, essentially. The onions and the garlic are going to infuse into that and make a delicious gravy. And then we're going to add in potatoes, carrots, which I have so conveniently chopped up, our meat that you just saw me brown a little bit, and then our broth, and then I will have a part 2 for what that ends up looking like. It's so weird to just see red wine and onions boiling in a pot. It is kind of strange, like, if you think about it. Father, why are you making white onion red wine stew? Yeah, so honestly, deglazing is different depending on pan, depending on what is in the deglazing, depending on how hot your stove gets, etc. So seriously, just do it until you don't smell. Put your face over the pot like this. And if you're not accosted by the smell of red wine like I just was, Jesus, then it's good. This, I would estimate probably has like 45 more seconds on it. So, hello. Anyway, yeah, so we'll do broth, potatoes, carrots next, and then part 2. Okay, actually, this mellowed out pretty quick. So we're gonna do meat. Let those juices get in there. I'm gonna do meat. Okay. Stir that around a little bit, just a little. We're gonna do potatoes and carrots in. Okay. Stir that around a little, just to incorporate everything that there is to incorporate so far. This whole thing. So this is a quart. And obviously I'm not using any sort of recipe, but I do 4 cups of beef broth or any broth, vegetable, doesn't really matter. 4 cups, always. Doesn't matter. It's almost always the right measurement for servings like this. If you have a recipe or a way that you do it, then that is how you do it. But for me, I almost always use a full box, 4 cups, 1 quart, 32 ounces of broth. So we're gonna go ahead and dump that in. Do the lovely broth box ritual that is just squeezing the absolute ever-loving shit out of it. Dispose of this however it says fit. This one's recyclable, so I'll chuck it in the recycling bin. And then, you know, we're gonna add a little bit more salt. I recommend only doing a little bit, and then at the end you can salt as your preference. I'm gonna add a little bit more of this ground black pepper. Then I'm okay. Then I'm gonna grab a lid. Grab a lid. I'm gonna cover that up. I'm actually gonna turn this off and move it to the back burner just so it doesn't inconvenience any of my housemates. And then, yeah, that is the process. And then when we come back, I will be taking off the stove, adding a little bit of flour if it needs added thickening, and then drying it. All right, love y'all. You all rock. See you in part 2.